Hi, my name is Shiloh Lancaster. I'm a registered dietitian at Rapides Regional Medical Center, and welcome back to Dish on Diabetes. Today we're talking about eating out with diabetes, what to choose and why. So eating out is a very important part of our lifestyle. We love to eat out with friends and family, and it's important to know that you can eat out, and there's a lot of options for you as a diabetic to eat out. When we're eating out at a restaurant, you're going to have a lot of options on the menu, and so when we look at those options, we want to look at maybe some key phrases to help you choose some of these foods. So when you're looking, let's say, at a nice sit-down restaurant, we want to look at the menu and choose foods that, especially proteins, that might say grilled or baked. These are ideas and words that will help you identify that there's not something that's breaded and fried. It's going to be, a mainly lean product. There's not going to use a lot of sauces and things like that in the addition of those foods. Also look for, like I said, sauces, anything that says sweet or savory or smoky or things that have gravies on them. Those are going to add more calories, and when something is, a sweet type meat, especially maybe like a barbecue restaurant, those can add extra sugar that we might not be considering. Also, we want to think about our side choices. If we have a restaurant where we have maybe meat and two sides, we want to consider having a non-starchy vegetable as one of the sides, whether it be greens, a green bean, carrots, or a side salad. And then you could have a starch, which would be rice, potatoes, any of the corns, beans, those kinds of things. Combining a starchy and a non-starchy helps to control those portion sizes. Also, when we're eating out, and especially at maybe a Mexican restaurant or a restaurant that serves rolls in the beginning, it's very tempting to have those. I do discourage using a lot of those at the very beginning because mainly those are just carbohydrates. They're really not giving you a lot of other nutrition other than just the sugar and the carbohydrates to raise your blood sugar. So try to avoid the rolls in the basket, the chips and salsa maybe at a Mexican restaurant, and stick to what we have at our meals. Also, when you're at maybe an Italian restaurant, for example, we have one dish meals that have rice or pasta. They tend to be larger portions, up to 2 to 3 times the recommended serving size. So I would really recommend having those kinds of dishes as something you can split with a partner. Have an order of spaghetti or Alfredo or jambalaya and order 2 side salads. That way you can split the plate, have your non-starchy vegetables as well. We can also try to make other mindful items as well on the dessert menu. I try to avoid excess sugar, a lot of the additional sweets, and maybe opt for a fresh fruit option or a yogurt option if available, if you're wanting dessert with family and friends. So the other thing we want to talk about is fast foods. Fast foods are very common to have on the go, and they're sometimes necessary when we need to have something quick. The good thing is fast food restaurants are doing a great job at offering alternative menu items nowadays and not just French fries and hamburgers. So when you look on a fast food menu, look for, again, those items that say grilled or baked, things that don't necessarily come between 2 buns. They can be, a salad. They could be any other kinds of wraps that have a lean tortilla on them. And then if you get a combo meal, try to avoid the French fries. Most restaurants will have things like apple slices, fruit, or a side salad that you can have in addition to your main course. Also, we want to avoid sugar-sweetened beverages while we're eating out. So having something ideally like water or unsweet tea would be preferred over soft drinks. But when you're eating out, whether it's at a restaurant or a fast food restaurant, just make sure you take time to consider your options and try to make the best choices that you can while you're there. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Dish on Diabetes.